Hi, welcome to the first Wardrox she wrote. I'm the Wardrox from the title. I'm the editor-in-chief of NegativeGamer.com. It's a video game blog that's sort of more critical than your average blog. We sort of like to take a slightly more cynical approach. This video series is basically going to be me going blah 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 about topics that pique my interest, P-I-Q-U-E. They're sort of going to be sort of about the industry rather than about the games. This week, I'd like to talk to you about content of video game websites, but not the quality. Instead, I think I'd rather like to talk to you about the quantity. I'm a strong believer that if your readers want content, you should give them the content as easily as possible. However, most large websites seem to believe that if your users want content, then they actually want links to interestingly headlined other pieces of content that they weren't originally looking for, and they want to buy various merchandise via huge adverts. It makes sense from a business perspective. Sadly, I am not particularly interested in what makes sense from a business perspective. I'm interested in reading what I want and not being hassled continuously. Here's a few examples of doing it right. Look, it's the Wikipedia page for monster trucks. I load up the page, I get no hassle, it's exactly what I want, and I get more than 300 words without even scrolling. Here is the BBC News website. Even on my widescreen monitor that's not as tall as most, I get about 100 words before the fold. Here's parody news site The Onion, bringing me 130 plus words without having to move a thing. And finally, as a basic form of disclosure, this is what an article I wrote this morning on Negative Gamer looks like. It's a fairly short news post, and the entire thing is above the fold. Sadly, it seems the notion of putting the content where people can see it is running scared on the web. We need to maximize our SEO. We need to push more of our high-quality content into their visual sphere. We need to socialize the content so that people can Twitter it, because that is important. People are sheep, and we need to herd them. Okay, maybe that's a bit too far with the sheep thing. But here are a few examples of websites doing it wrong. Hey look, it's MSNBC. What you're seeing is a whole 53 words before the fold and an advert you have to scroll past. To make sure that we're being fair and balanced, here's Fox News. Absolutely no words of the article, but a small blurb of 30 words before the fold. Here's the Huffington Post, which clocks in an impressive 5 words before the fold. Now, I know scrolling's not that much effort, but 5 words? To bring this back to gaming, if you don't mind, I use probably about 1 billion different RSS feeds, and they all come together, and that's how I get most of my news. But more and more and more, I am seeing things like this example from PlayTM. As you can see, this is one single page with 3 adverts on. The only actual content is 2 small images, and each one links to a separate page with 2 more adverts on, with a new trailer for whatever game it is. 7 adverts, 3 pages for 2 embeddable videos with no written commentary. Sometimes it's not just a lack of content that's annoying me. Or should that be just the content getting out of the way? Invasive advertising is a bitch, and it's kind of taking hold. As the larger websites struggle as they get a diluted fan base, or simply get greedy, then we're starting to see some horrible... To get a few examples on what I mean in the scope of gaming, I've taken some inspiration, and directly some images, from Cheap Ass Gamer's CheapyD, who made these following 2 images showing the Mass Effect hype, which is in the form of both adverts and articles. Firstly on IGN, shown in red is where Mass Effect adverts or articles are. And on GamePro. This isn't that accurate, because technically it looked like this, because there's full screen adverts. Incidentally, that's what 1UP looks like most of the time, because they put a full screen advert up for their own stuff. Here's what VG247 looked like this morning with all their Bioshock 2 adverts. Last week, this is what Destructoid.com looked like with a full site skin and some lovely rollover adverts for something to do with Halo. Gawker sites like Kotaku frequently scroll an advert across the top. Here's Jailer Pink, Gawker's car blog, this morning with an advert all the way across the top and down the side. Now, to the people who are putting these adverts on these websites, join me over at the table. I'm not saying I don't want you to make a lot of money. That's the whole point of a business, is to have a profiteering mentality and just make money. However, I am saying there is a balance between screwing over your customers, I guess. Well, actually, no, they're not your customers. Your advertising people are your customers. Screwing over your readers, and still making enough money to pay for the servers and your staff and whatnot. If you really, really don't have a choice and you have to run the full screen adverts, then the least you could do is tell us. Tweet something like, I'm really sorry about these adverts. We have to pay £20,000 to staff, or you could say we weren't making enough money, we have to do it this way, or you could say this is a sponsorship deal, because of these adverts that you're putting up with, we get competitions. Just come out and be honest with us. You know, people don't really get... The people who you're bothering are the same people who would genuinely appreciate you, you know, just coming out and having a quick word. That's fine. If you have to have the adverts, just do that. Now, to the people who read these websites, join me in the toilet. I've brought you in here just, you know, so that they don't see. Because, I mean, if they were watching, they'd be a bit pervy. But you don't have to put up with shitty adverts. There are comment sections on articles. You can just let your voice be known, or you can email the publications in offer, or you can do what I've started to do and just go elsewhere. Most of the blogs and the websites I visit is purely for news, and that's available on a dozen other better websites. So, that's my opinion. Feel free to leave a comment somehow, or email me, and let you know. In the meantime, could you... Thanks.